always the last few seconds.
Ta-da. Hey guys and girls, welcome to this month's LinkedIn Live. I'm sat here, I'm actually in the office. This is the first time that I've actually been in the office since we've done a LinkedIn Live, I think ever, because I've been in LA, various different countries, hosting from all over the world. But today I'm joining you from the office. And I am an official news reporter, apparently, because I didn't have notes from my team, because I am interviewing the incredible, now, Alicia, I know how to say your first name, Alicia Teltz. I didn't check that bit. Yeah, I got it right. Guys, if you don't know Alicia, I'm going to call her the new queen of LinkedIn. Having worked at LinkedIn, she has now gone off, done her own thing, and grown massively on LinkedIn. Alicia, give us, before we go into everything, and guys, as you know, this episode is all about LinkedIn. So I'm going to ask Alicia basically all the things I want to know about her amazing growth on LinkedIn. She's already given me tips, by the way, and something that me and the team have effed up on in hosting this, the live, and the way that we structured it. So I'm going to tell you about that as well. Alicia, tell us how amazing you are.
Thank you, Katie. What an intro. I'm happy to be here. I'm also very happy to have our little private, not so private chat about LinkedIn. I'm an open book. I'm happy to share everything I know. But yeah, for those who don't know me, I'm Alicia, originally from Germany. That's where the accent is from. But I've been living in the UK the last 15 years. Katie, can I quickly check with you? You are frozen on my side. Am I frozen for you? Is it you? Is it me? Are we all good?
No. I'm hopefully. Hi guys. Yes, I was going to say, Paul Wishman, hey guys, please do pop up in the chat, ask questions. I'm going to try and ask Alicia as much as I can from the questions. Alicia, you're not frozen for me. Guys watching live, can you tell us? Oh, there we go. I'm on my own watch as well. Look at that. Can you please tell me if either for any? Oh my god, I can't even talk. If we have frozen for any of you, but no, Alicia, you're perfect. So good. And okay, hopefully I'm waving now.
I just continue talking until everything crashes, or we might just be completely fine.
Yeah, right. Let's hope. Let's hope. I'm going to go and open our door because sometimes our Wi-Fi is slow when the door's closed. So I'm just going to go and open it. Sorry, guys. Alicia, tell everyone how amazing you are whilst I do that.
I will continue. All right, guys. So I used to work in B2B tech sales for 15 years for the world's biggest organizations, SAP, MasterCard, Gartner, and most recently LinkedIn. And when I was at LinkedIn, my job was to advise those multi-billion-dollar companies on how to use LinkedIn, how wonderful LinkedIn is, how impactful it is to show up on LinkedIn. But as a LinkedIn-owned employee, I never posted myself because I found it incredibly cringe. And I think so many people, especially in the corporate world, feel that way. And we can talk about how to get over the cringe and all of that. But I just thought, it was last year, February, where I thought, fuck it. I can't stand in front of my clients anymore and preach about LinkedIn and not following my own advice. So I put out a very public statement, February 2025, saying, watch me grow my own LinkedIn following from 2,000 followers, random old connections, to 10,000 followers within 90 days. And that was absolutely nuts because I had no idea whether it would be hard or easy. Also, I didn't know how to start because you might think that someone who works at LinkedIn knows everything. We don't. I will share what I know, but I will also share what is very, very secretive. Anyhow, that was the start of everything. I hit that goal one day before the deadline, thank fucking God. And then since then, I just continued to grow. I got so much momentum that I handed in my notice at LinkedIn. And yeah, actually, you know what? Today is the 30th of June. Today, 1 year ago, was my last day at LinkedIn. So it's now exactly 365 days. Crazy.
Yeah, and now at over 50,000 followers, guys, I'm going to ask Alicia all of the, well, not secrets, but all the tactics, all the things that she's done. We're going to talk about tools, tactics, approach, messaging, so that you guys, and I do honestly, just to kind of ground this in why I truly believe this is important. For those of you that don't know me, hi, I'm Katie Street. Many followers as Alicia. I think I've got less than half. I've got just under 25,000. And my growth on LinkedIn has been much more I guess, sustained over, I've worked in the marketing and advertising industry pretty much my whole life for the last 25 years. I now run a B2B marketing agency that is all around people-powered marketing. So that's events and human-centered content, a lot of that, which of course goes onto LinkedIn, that is for like really big tech companies. So my clients include Adobe, PayPal, so many, Contentful, and millions, quite a few more, not millions
of dollars.
That would be millions of pounds, but not millions and millions of clients. But yeah, we've got so we work with some really big brands like Google, etc. You guys will know that, you know the drill, and we help them put on events and content that connect them with people. So for me, the whole LinkedIn piece is super, super important. It's where I get the majority of my leads. It's, I now, even at, just under 25,000 followers, I get brand deals. So, people that want to connect with my audience, because I have a very senior in fact, I was looking at stats for someone who wants to do a paid takeover with me yesterday. Over 53% of my audience are director level and above in the marketing industry. And that's kind of, been built on all the amazing stuff that I've done over the years. So this is really important. It will earn you money. It will help you get a promotion. It will help you launch your own business, and people powered marketing is becoming, I truly believe, the best way to cut through, because in a world of AI and robots, you can't trust anyone like you can a real person. And here we are being real, and I'm going to ask Alicia everything we need to know to get amazing on LinkedIn. So Alicia, let's wind back. So you obviously decided you hit your 10,000. You decided you wanted to leave LinkedIn. Tell me about the business that you're running today.
All right. To be fair, it has evolved. I've come from a corporate background. I've always worked for the biggest organizations on the planet. So I'm not used to like a startup environment, being an entrepreneur. Like, what does it actually mean to generate like your own leads? Like, I worked somewhere where they've given you everything on a silver platter. So I did the natural thing, I think, that most corporate or ex-corporate employees are doing. I started with a lot of one-on-one coaching. Anyone who needed help on LinkedIn, I was happy to help. I was doing some LinkedIn ghostwriting, and that brought me a lot of money. I'm very happy. In my second month of being self-employed, I replaced my nice corporate salary. However, I just built kind of another prison for myself. Like, I was working nonstop. So I shifted. I started then going more towards like group coaching, build a community. The community has now evolved to like a Substack community. By the way, this week also, I made it into the top 3 of global Substack bestseller list, which is nuts. It's so cool. Saying my name next to famous people. Like,
I love that. I mean,
yeah.
I got obsessed with Substack for about a week and then went back to my good friend LinkedIn. So that's also something to talk about, because Substack is coming up, and I'm really interested to understand, yes, of course, how it's helping in terms of building your audience, but is it actually delivering leads for you, Alicia? Tell me about that.
So I don't do one-on-one anymore, but I have a lot of people slipping into my DMs asking for one-on-one support. I've now monetized my Substack. So it's a paid membership, and I just crossed 20K in like $24,000, like 20K pounds, in gross annual revenue in the first month ever since I switched it on. So I only switched it on in end of May. So that is going really well. I'm super happy with that. But what I'm planning on doing is launching my first cohort, which is starting in August. So I'm gearing up towards that. So my business has shifted from like the one-on-one high ticket kind of support and direct hand holding to a more like broader mass support, helping in a community style.
Love that. And that's where the money is to be made. I look at people on Substack that have got people subscribing to their content. I'm like, this is such a no-brainer in terms of revenue. So I'm going to go and stalk you out on Substack after this as well.
Please. Go ahead.
Yeah, just very quickly. So we are going to talk about LinkedIn, guys, but I think this is really interesting because Substack, there's huge opportunity. I truly believe it's going to be one of the platforms that we all need to be on. So yeah, sorry to give you another job, everyone, but it's here and it's coming, and it's definitely a platform worth investing your time in. Tell me what you've been doing, Alicia, to get, and you said end of May, as in a month ago, or as in last.
So I started posting on Substack in January this year, and now I have around like 6,000 followers and 3,500 subscribers. So followers is, they will see whatever I put out on the app, similar to like LinkedIn. whereas subscribers are people's email addresses. And that's why Substack is so powerful, because it's an organic way to grow your email list. So that was the whole reason why I started a Substack. I still have my Beehive account to do like email marketing. So I went onto Substack to just have another way to get people's email addresses, to put it as bluntly as that. And yeah, so now I have around like 3,500 email subscribers. And then on Substack, you can switch on a paid subscription. So I'm charging £20 a month, and we speak once a month, come together as a group, and they get like exclusive articles. It sounds a little bit like simple, but there's that's the magic. I will obviously keep like the spiciest, juiciest LinkedIn tips for my paid audience. But also, as you said, like Substack is growing enormously. Like it's the platform that is growing the strongest. And then obviously it makes monetization very easy. You have recurring cash flow. So that is really nice. And the sky's the limit. You can grow your audience to as big as you want. If you do monthly Q&A calls, no matter how many people are on there, you can manage it. So that is really nice. And obviously what I do with my LinkedIn is I repurpose my content. I see what performed well on my LinkedIn, then I post it on my Substack. I will update the data and refresh it a little bit and tweak it a little bit. But also sometimes I put out content first on my Substack, see how it performs and what performs really well, and then put out on LinkedIn. So you're not doubling your efforts. You're just being smart on like cross-using your content.
Yeah, repurposing your content to the right place, to the right people, and adjusting it as it needs to for the slightly different audience. I love that. No, I've actually got one of my team working on that today for me, for my LinkedIn content for Instagram, because I need to get a lot better on Instagram. So maybe I'm also going to brief them to do the same for me for Substack. There we go. First lesson of the day, guys. So let's move it over to LinkedIn now. Talk to us about what you started doing in terms of, so you had this business or this business idea, you knew what you wanted to post about. How did that kind of scale? How often were you posting? What was your like, right, okay, I'm going to do this. This is my positioning. This is what I'm doing. Talk to me about that initial journey when you first started posting.
Yeah, all right. I started posting when I was still a corporate employee. And I'm saying this because there are so many people out there who are in a corporate job who are thinking about, maybe I should post to be seen, get a promotion. Maybe I should post to get a better job offer. Maybe I should post and gear up to do my own thing. Maybe I'm already having a coaching business on the side and I want to post, but I don't want to piss off my employer. That is the key thing. And me posting on LinkedIn, even though I work for LinkedIn, but you wouldn't believe the eye rolls I got from other colleagues not understanding what it is that I was doing and why I'm posting on LinkedIn is absolutely nuts. And I cannot believe how much more difficult it would be for any other organization that is not LinkedIn, if LinkedIn is already struggling with like the cringe and making yourself visible. Anyhow, I had nothing to sell when I was still at LinkedIn. So the content I was putting out, I was just figuring it out. I was just seeing what I enjoy talking about. Obviously, it was somewhat connected to LinkedIn and my job. But in the beginning, I had like a blank page. I just posted about whatever. But that was also, that made it human. People connected with me. They found it interesting what I was saying. It was entertaining. It wasn't like super, super polished and overly corporate. I just showed up as a human being who was figuring shit out. I was very open and honest about it. I addressed the elephant in the room saying, I work for LinkedIn and I don't know how to do this shit. Like, help me understand it, help me learn. And in return, whatever I can find out internally, I will share with you guys. And that's how kind of like it all started. When I was like really focusing on growing to 10,000 followers, I was posting every day. Like, it is tough to post every day. I was working at LinkedIn, so it wasn't weird that I was spending a lot of time on LinkedIn. But hitting 10,000 in 90 days is absolutely possible. It does take a lot of effort. So posting every day, I was commenting a lot under other people's posts. Commenting in today's time, the algorithm has changed, but commenting is becoming more important than ever. And also having a premium license or Sales Navigator license means you can send 150 connection requests per week. So that's 600 per month. So I was making sure I connect every day with at least 20 people, be very active in the DMs. I was basically living on the platform, but it worked. It worked. And my strategy, to be fair, hasn't changed since. I got a bit more lazy with my commenting and with my connection request outreach, but I'm still posting every day.
Yeah, well, you probably don't need to send as many connection requests now because they're flying into you like no one's business because you've kept up with the content posting. Now, couple of questions. Some of these might be myths that you can bust for us. So some people I see, fantastic people on LinkedIn, post more than once a day. What's your opinion on posting more than once a day?
It's absolutely fine. It's not that the algorithm is punishing you. It's a myth. There is data out there that shows that people who post more than once a day have lower impressions per post on average. But I tend to believe that's because they are putting out content and it's just the quality of the content suffers when you're so under pressure putting out content. Therefore, I think that's why the impressions are lower. I just recently accidentally put out 4 posts in one day. Like, it was an accident, but they all performed nicely. It was all good. Like, they weren't eating each other up. It's absolutely fine. If you have the time and the energy to post more than once a day, go for it. It's fine, but it needs to be good quality.
Yeah, I think that what you kind of said there, when you were talking about showing up as you, someone's asked a question actually about AI slop. I write my content like I'm talking to my best friend, or I'm talking to you guys now. I write like I speak. I talk like a human. I mean, of course I do use AI. In fact, most of the time I will voice note what I want to say, and it will kind of, I tell it to write it as I say it, and then it will help me sometimes give some structure, or I'll speak to usually Claude at the moment, at which we've got some clever MVP integrations that work, and then actually will directly post through a platform called Supergrow onto LinkedIn if you want to. But I talk to it and I get it to write exactly what I'm saying, and then sometimes I might say, go and do some research on this, or actually, can you get me some up-to-date stats on this fact, or something, some kind of point I'm trying to prove, or a message that I'm getting across. But I think the problem that lots of people are doing with AI is they're using it to I generate their ideas, write the whole thing for them, just saying, I want to talk about this. And therefore you're seeing a lot of shit content. I don't have the team post for me. I have a team, and we do that sometimes for our clients, but it's really important for me to stay authentic and true and speak like me, as me. I'm sure, Alicia, you're probably the same in terms, and there's so many cool tools out there. I've got another one that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But Alicia, talk to me about how you generate your content now. Are you still writing your content? Do you use any AI tools? How do you make sure that you stay true to your tone of voice?
Yeah, exactly kind of what you said. I always say, if someone gets on the phone with you after having seen what you put out, they shouldn't be surprised with how you sound. You should sound exactly the same. And you will see when you see my content, sometimes I write all in capital letters. Sometimes I use a wealth of emojis. Like, that's my character. That's just like the energy. And I want people to feel my energy, because the reason a post doesn't perform is because it's boring. It doesn't emotionalize people. It doesn't do anything. And that's why it doesn't perform. We are now in an era where we want to be entertained. We are getting entertainment left, right, and center through social media, Netflix, like everything around us. So LinkedIn content is currently still so boring. It is so easy to cut through the noise. So just, show up as a fun human being. And then in terms of the content itself, I like to switch it up. Sometimes I just write 2 sentences. Sometimes I write a really in-depth one. Sometimes I post a video. Sometimes I do a poll. Like, I do various different things, trying different things, but also just having fun with it, keeping my audience on their toes as well. I don't want them to see my name and think like, oh, it's just the same old like article. I want them to always be like, oh, what is you putting out today? So I like to keep it fresh. And then in terms of using AI, exactly the same. I like to use AI when you are having a block. And it happens to the best of us. Sometimes I go through phases and I have so much to say, and I could post today. I posted twice. So I just put it out. But then sometimes you are just in a bit of like I can't think of anything I should post. I don't know what to post. And I use a tool called Stanley. I don't want to promote anything, but I use Stanley, and it knows me. It analyzes all of my content. So it gives me suggestions, hook suggestions on what I should post about based on my previous content performance, based on what's working in the industry. And then it gives me ideas. But also with you, I write all of my content myself. And then sometimes I use AI here and there to sharpen it, to make it a little bit different. But for anyone who is new to posting content, when you use AI, you're not used to the typical things it says. You can't spot them as well. Whereas a lot of other people, we can smell it from a mile away. So you have to be really careful. And it's difficult sometimes to get the AI back out of it. So I would always say, just write your own content. Use AI to brainstorm when you can't think. But normally, we don't want your innovation, your quirkiness, your weird thinking to dissipate. we won't
Yeah,
view.
I actually find it. Sorry, Alicia, the glitchiness of the dodgy Wi-Fi here. But I honestly find it so cathartic writing my posts. I really enjoy doing it. I sit down in the morning, and as I'm writing, I'm like, oh, I have this idea, and so it kind of flows really nicely because sometimes I'll voice note it and get it to like play it back, but I actually, even when I've done that, I'll then still rewrite the whole bloody thing. It's a lot of the time like, oh, it's so quick for me to do my LinkedIn posts. Sometimes it takes me like well over an hour or two to actually craft and actually set it live. And then sometimes when I'm doing a video, then I want to edit the video, it's an effort and there is reward, but you've got to put the time in. There is, I think everyone thinks in today's age, oh yeah, there's loads of AI, and you can hack the system and you can post every day with some AI slop, but the reality is that's not truly going to get you where you need to be. And I think for me, quality over quantity. If you only can post once a week, but you're posting something of value that's helpful, that's going to have much more impact, and your audience know, okay, Alicia shows up. She doesn't. She shows up every day, sometimes 4 times a day. But if they know, okay, Katie shows up every Wednesday or whatever, that's fine. That's a great way also to get this kind of muscle memory with posting, and get your rhythm and understand who you are and what your point of difference is, what your value is. So I think there's a lot that kind of goes into that upfront piece to set it right. Now, Alicia, there's so many things I want to ask you. I feel like we need to do this for like 2 hours. Let's go back to the beginning. I'm starting to reference there about value proposition, because the way that you write and you position yourself, like you said, you use emotion, you talk about things that people can relate to. It's important. Often some of the best posts that I've done are very emotional posts about my life, my story, my daughter. Of course, I think that's important to have that part of your content, but it's also important to be valuable. I want people to follow me because I want them to buy into people-powered marketing and hopefully at some stage book events with us and do some content strategies with us. How do you make sure that you're kind of linking back and that you've got kind of, because we always talk about as in the marketing industry as like content pillars, how do you kind of make sure that your content is valuable and that you've got the right hooks, the right messaging that's going to kind of stop the scroll in the first place?
Yeah. So I always think you should have 3 content pillars. One is thought leadership, which is like the value, the education. What are you an expert in? The second is business / behind the scenes. So sharing with your audience what is going on in your business. Have you hired someone? Have you lost a big client? Like, what are the learnings? Like, people are invested to see your journey. They want to vouch for the underdog or to see what's happening, where you're going. They want to be part of it. It is way more entertaining, like to follow a hero's like journey. And then the third one is personal, because I always like to think, if you're just putting out expertise, people might learn from you, but they don't remember you. And if you only put up personal bits, they might like you, but they don't take you seriously. So you need to have like a mix of all 3. And then I like to think of my content, and I know this is getting a bit like detailed, but I like to think of my content as a marketing funnel. So top, middle, and bottom funnel. Top funnel content is designed for people that have never seen you before, to stretch to like a big audience that can be reposted and reshared a lot of times. And then middle funnel content is the ones where you celebrate a client win, talk about a case study, go behind the scenes, go a little bit more niche. And then bottom funnel is like the conversion, where you say like, right, I have this offer, sign up now. And I always try to have like kind of 70% of my content in the top funnel, and then only 5% in the bottom funnel, and like 25-ish in the middle funnel. So I predominantly focus on content that is like for the masses, and then convert every now and then.
I love that. Great tips there, Alicia. I love it. I think for me, having every single part of the puzzle together can feel quite hard, but if you've got a bit of a formula like that, guys, you need to write it down, because it will really help you structure your content and plan a bit. Now, therefore, next question: do you use anything to plan your content? Do you use a Plannable? Do you schedule your content? Do you write on the day? Tell me how you structure your content and how you know what's coming next.
I think this is so personal, like from person to person. I have ADHD. I'm also autistic, which is like very contradictive. It's like so fucking confusing. But I know there are some people, like I'm super organized, but also at the same time, the most disorganized, unorganized person there is. So whilst I would love to have a content system and everything structured and planned, I don't. I write them most of the time on the day. Sometimes there's an exception, like I already have my post for tomorrow ready, so that's good, but most of the time I don't. What I normally do is I advise people on how they can set up a content system, but I always advise they need to leave room for spontaneity. Like we love to read content where it says like, yesterday this happened, today this is, like we want recency. We also want like LinkedIn, by the way, a little bit of like insider knowledge there. LinkedIn sees itself as a global media news broadcaster. So basically, LinkedIn as the most trusted social media platform in the world, everyone has like their user account. We can see people's history, work experience. We are all verified as real humans. So LinkedIn wants to use us, creators, anyone who is posting content on LinkedIn, to talk about what is happening in the news with the own like industry expertise, with your own lens, with your own opinion. So that is basically like the most like centered way politically to talk about events happening in the world, because you have all the different voices. Therefore, LinkedIn loves, like the algorithm loves content where you talk about this happened then, like when and in a timely manner. So again, getting back to it, you can plan it. If you're that organized, amazing. If not, don't stress. If you do it on the day, I do it. And if you can still leave room for flexibility and talk about recent events, that's perfect.
Alicia, I absolutely love that, because that's exactly what I do too. There are certain days, like usually on a Tuesday, but not today actually, because I posted about this. But usually on a Tuesday, we release a podcast. So Tuesday's the only day of the week that I genuinely plan my content. Apart from on a Monday, I do Monday morning marketing tips for the matcha, but I talk about what's ever on my mind that day. I record those videos on a Monday morning, drinking my morning matcha, because I take reformed matcha and I love it. And yeah, and so I never know what I'm going to post until the day. I know what my content pillars are. I know that I need to mix it up similarly, in terms of the different brackets of personal content, thought leadership content, stuff that then also kind of proves that I know what I'm talking about, and case studies and the amazing stuff that we do at Street. But genuinely, I post about what's happening right there and then. And it's bloody hard sometimes, because we host a lot of events. I've been at, and I feel like my feed, as I'm sure all of you guys, anyone here who works in marketing, has just been full of Cannes Lions stuff, which I was at hosting things at last week. And so then I'm like, oh no, I just feel like I'm in this Cannes Lions void in the last week, because everyone is posting about it, but all the content did quite well. So
it's entertaining. Look, I had major FOMO, but I found
I
that
know.
one very entertaining. I was nosy. I wanted to see what was going on. I wanted to see where I wasn't and all like the celeb shit. So
yeah, Alicia, I had FOMO and I was there. Like, it's so hard because there's so many things happen, and that's also a thing, by the way. I guess applies to LinkedIn as well. Like it, and I think that's also going to become even more important. Like, as we're all putting content out there and we're all sharing the really great, amazing, fun things that we're doing and our high achievements, and of course that's really aspirational. I do really believe that we should also post more about the shit. Sorry if I'm allowed to swear on LinkedIn, but I just have. But I do think it's really important to share the struggles, the things that are hard, because everything looks so shiny. And I look at, some of the creators that are rising the ranks in their 20s, and I'm 43. In fact, I'm nearly 44. I'm 44 this month.
You do not look it, and I say, I mean this.
Thank you. Lots and lots of Botox. No, it's not. I actually didn't have any until I was about 39. So I coped till then. But I think, so many you see other people doing so well on LinkedIn, or, these creators but the reality is it's bloody hard work, and it takes hard graft, and there's late nights, and there's, at Cannes we were all sweating and, having a million meltdowns in between rosés or whatever. It's hard work. So I think we all need to remember to share. In fact, one of my highest performing posts was like me nearly crying because Keir Starmer was putting taxes up, and I was like, oh, my business is going to die. I think it's important to share that stuff, because everyone's like, oh, you're doing so well. I'm like, yeah, but that also comes with a lot of stress and hard times. So I just say to all of you, please share the good and the bad, because then, you know, it just gives a bit more of a reality check to certainly young people coming through the ranks who just think, oh my God, it's really easy. I just need to post on LinkedIn once a day and I'm going to be a millionaire. Yeah. But also there's a lot more that goes into that, because there's a lot of hard work that sits behind it as well. Right. Going to go back to LinkedIn posting. Alicia, do you advise, I feel like I know your answer to this because it may be similar to mine. Do you advise posting at any particular time of day? Do you see better performance at any time of day?
Previously, I would have said yes, but now with the new algorithm, it doesn't matter as much anymore. So quick recap. Previously, the LinkedIn algorithm was predominantly driven by how big your network is, meaning if you put out a post, it will be predominantly shown to your existing network. If they engage with it, then it will continue to perform. Whereas now the new algorithm is becoming more of like a For You page. So it will be sent to people outside of your network, depending on how your profile is set up, what content you're engaging with, like lots of other bits and pieces. And then your existing network is still being informed, but no longer as much as it used to. That also means the quality of the content needs to be good. And anyway, that can be a session on its own for over like 2 hours. I have a webinar on this. It takes ages. But basically that now means in terms of the time when you're posting, previously it was really important because you needed to make sure your existing network is available and they can jump on it. Whereas now it's no longer sent to all of your network, it's sent to less people. So it's no longer as important. And we can see lots of posts are still alive a week, 2 weeks, sometimes even 3 weeks after you posted it. I still believe you shouldn't post at 1 a.m. in the morning. Still try to post when your audience is online. But I also like to think to switch it up every now and then. Look, nobody will know for certain. All we know is just by looking at data, doing our own experiments. I always used to post at 10 a.m. every day. However, I have now switched it up because on the one hand, I didn't want to have the same people always commenting, because I noticed I have the same people showing up instantly when I post. The new I'm posting at 10 a.m. I don't want LinkedIn to think that I'm in some sort of engagement pod and it's all my homies that are commenting under my post. It's not. And I don't want LinkedIn to think that. So I started switching up my posting times. Now I post at like random times, also thinking maybe I'm reaching a new audience with it. Maybe I reach the US with it. I'm not being as bold and trying in the night to reach Australia. But yeah, I'm switching it up. I haven't seen a dip in my performance. So
we've got someone in the comments saying, hi, Alicia from Sydney. So we are reaching Australia.
What bloody time is it in Sydney right now?
Yeah, who commented? Hang on, I'm just going to go and find them. Anna Claire, tell us what time it is in Sydney. We want to know. But it's also really important. Like a lot of my clients, I would probably say 60% of my clients are based in America. Although we will often deliver events for them across EMEA, like loads of my clients are in America. So I also have to think, well, if I'm posting at 9 a.m. they're asleep. So and that's a huge part of my target audience. So I traditionally used to post between 7 and 9 now, and I used to get like really like het up if I hadn't like posted before 9 a.m. I'd be like, oh, I haven't done my post. Now I'm like, do you know what, it doesn't matter. And sometimes they pop at like 4 p.m. 5 p.m. 6 p.m. because my audience is changing and evolving.
Exactly. I used to stress out so much early in the morning. Like, I need to get this post out and it's not ready and I don't know. Yeah. It makes your life so much easier. Also, the other day, I posted a post Friday night at 9 p.m. and it performed really, really nicely. So you never know. Also, a lot of creators, they repost their posts. So they post, I see Anna is saying it's 1:30 a.m. Oh,
Anna,
thank you for being
here. Yeah, like amazing. Love that.
Very quickly on the reposting. So a lot of LinkedIn gurus, and to be fair, I'm probably a LinkedIn guru as well, say that you should post in the morning and then repost in the afternoon so you reach the US. Apparently, reposting doesn't have an impact on like your performance. It should have a positive, like there's two camps. One camp says reposting harms your impressions. The other camp says it helps to get your impressions up. I tried it a few times. I never saw a big impact with it. And I just think it looks a little bit look, everyone to their own, but I just feel like I don't want anyone to come onto my profile and it looks a bit desperate, that I'm desperate for likes. And exactly, and it's the same post we posted. The only thing that I do is when I have something to promote, like last week I was running a live webinar, I reposted that event post every day. And I had no shame because I wanted people to attend, and it was very successful. But that's the only exception. Otherwise, I don't repost.
Now, dialing into that success, we've got two things to talk about on events. We're going to talk about that first, but then I'm also going to disclaim the mistake that we made that you've helped me and my team with before we even started this call. So you said last week you gained loads of followers, loads of traction because you did something interesting. I don't know what that is yet because I didn't even ask you on our prep call because we were having the world's worst tech issues. What did you do last week and how has that helped you with your follower growth, opportunities, leads? Tell me what you did and yeah, share it with all of us.
All right. There are a few things I need to put my hands up. There are a few things that I cannot say just because they're reserved for my paid Substack audience and they paid for me telling them that secret. So I can't be completely honest, but
join the list of Substack, guys. I'm actually going to, by the way. I'm so doing that.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate it. So there are a few algorithm loopholes, and I tested them over the last few weeks. One has a major impact. As I said, I'm not talking about it now. It's in my Substack, but there are a few other ones as well. One of them, for example, is running a LinkedIn Live or having a LinkedIn newsletter. Very quickly on both of them. LinkedIn newsletter, when you have a decent sized audience, so I had almost 50,000 followers at that point when I switched it on, it sends a notification to all of your followers, meaning you suddenly pop up in those people's profiles, networks that haven't seen your content in ages because the algorithm has changed. So you kind of like remobilize people. They go onto your profile again, they see your name again, they might even subscribe to your newsletter. So this is a way to go around the algorithm. We can talk about LinkedIn newsletters and the pros and cons, and I can go into that detail, but only if people are asking. But that is one way that performs really well on LinkedIn. Don't put all your eggs into the LinkedIn newsletter basket, but use it as one tool. And then a LinkedIn Live, that also means when you go live, a notification will be sent to your followers when they are on LinkedIn Live, like on the platform, it will pop up. And that is, again, another way to go around the algorithm. So in conjunction, what I like to do is in conjunction with a few other loophole tips that I will not talk about right now, having the newsletter and doing LinkedIn Lives regularly is a beautiful way to really get momentum going.
Amazing. Now I've got a question about the newsletter. How do you differentiate your LinkedIn newsletter to what you're writing and putting out on Substack?
To make things more complex, I also have a newsletter on Beehive. So I basically have 3 newsletters. What I do, and this is also interesting for you, Katie, with this LinkedIn Live. So when you schedule a LinkedIn Live with your company page, you can put up a setting that someone has to submit their email address to attend the LinkedIn Live, which is a great way to collect email addresses. This is the only way on LinkedIn where we can actually gain access to email addresses, because the LinkedIn newsletter doesn't give you access to the email addresses. Again, other story. So you want to, figure out a way to have access to email addresses. Therefore, I grew my Beehive newsletter with LinkedIn Lives, with other like ways, lead magnets. So that is my promotional newsletter. Then I have my Substack, because Substack is a way that you can get access to the email addresses, but also grow organically. And then I have my LinkedIn newsletter. What I now do is I use my Beehive for any sort of promotional bits, saying I have a new webinar coming out, I'm launching my cohort, all of these things. Then on my Substack, I have a free account and a paid for tier. So on my free account, I kind of recycle what I have on my LinkedIn. So any well-performing LinkedIn post I will use for my Substack. And then on Substack, if I think about something that I haven't spoken about on LinkedIn yet, which is rare, but then I repost it on LinkedIn. But anything that is for my paid Substack subscribers cannot be found on my LinkedIn profile, because that wouldn't be fair. Like nothing on my content on LinkedIn will be on the paid one. But I try to recycle the LinkedIn and Substack content, the free ones that people can access. Sorry, this was really complex. I feel like I needed like a chart to really show what's going on.
A Venn diagram for this. Yeah, but I'm following you. It makes sense. I'm just getting massive FOMO that I'm not doing enough on Substack now, and I'm not doing enough on LinkedIn newsletters. So watch this space, guys. Whenever I come off these, I love hosting my amazing guests. I always come away with so many ideas. I'm like, oh, I need to do this, and I need to do this, and there's so much to do. But also, guys, don't give yourself a hard time, because we're all only human. You can only do so much. I gave myself such a hard time this year last week at Cannes, because they had this whole content creator cohort, but the content creators that are there are content creators. That's their full-time job. I've got 10 staff and a team and clients shouting at me because I'm doing all this stuff for them as well. So I have to be realistic. Yes, I do post on LinkedIn pretty much every day, but I'm realistic about what I can achieve, because I haven't got the time to do everything, because otherwise all my clients will dump me and I won't earn, any money, because I won't be doing the work that I need to do for them. So I think, take it all, do what's my kind of biggest tip. And, as a kind of micro influencer, or whatever you want to call me, at like sub 25,000 followers, is do what you love, do what's easy, share, be real, share the insights that you have, and don't give yourself a hard time. Like it can get quite stressful. I give myself sometimes quite a time, like we were saying earlier, about, oh my God, I haven't posted and I need to post. And then I'm like, do you know what? Last week in Cannes, I only posted 3 times because I was really freaking busy. Like, that's fine. No one's left me because I haven't posted every day like I usually do.
Absolutely. I love that you said that, because I was just about to say, I'm a full-time content creator. I currently make the biggest chunk of my money with brand partnership deals. Second biggest chunk of money is through my Substack and like the odd speaking gig. I don't have any, well, I have a little bit of stuff. I have my boyfriend who I retired. He is not really working.
Love him.
He lives a tough life. And I have someone else who helps me here and there with some things. But other than this, I have no responsibilities. So of course I can do so much more. So chill, relax. When I traveled, so earlier this year, I canceled my London flight, and my boyfriend and I, we're now traveling the world. We're currently actually in the UK. I'm at my boyfriend's parents' house. That's the lovely background I have.
Welcome home.
But when we just got to Thailand, there were 2 weeks where I just got there, and it was so exciting. And I posted, I think, twice within those 2 weeks. Like I didn't give a shit. And the world did not go down. The world did not go down. So it's all good. Yeah.
I think that's the thing, is we put so much pressure on ourselves sometimes to keep up, and there's so many people doing amazing things, but you can just do what you can do, and that is enough. So yeah, I'm so with you. Thank you for that, Alicia. That's made me feel better. So I want to kind of loop back to one of the things that you've referenced a few times, which is this huge algorithm shift that we've all seen. Like, it's been frustrating. I tell you what, my content's actually back to doing well, but there are a few weeks where I was like, shit, what the hell's happening? I still and sometimes also, like, content that I put out that I don't think is that good, like, performs really like blah, blah, blah. And then the stuff that I just didn't even really think about, that I didn't think was that good, like, goes off and goes viral. But the platform's changing. From what I understand, the algorithm is getting smarter, and I actually really like the changes that it's made. But Alicia, as the expert, as the ex-LinkedIn person in the virtual room, can you unpack what's changed and therefore what we need to do to keep up and change with it?
Yeah. To very, very briefly summarize, I mentioned earlier, LinkedIn is becoming more of like a For You page. That means LinkedIn is kind of grouping every creator into a persona bubble, not just every creator, like every user. So depending on how your profile is set up, depending on the content you consume, who you're connected with, and the content you put out, it will determine you're an accountant, you're an HR professional, whatever. We don't know what those categories are, but this is what, like, to simplify it. And then based also on the kind of like type of content you consume, do you like literally like click like on a short post, on a funny post meaning if that post had received like a lot of fun laughing emojis, that is then probably categorized at LinkedIn as like a funny post. So depending on what type of content you engage with, is it a video, is it polls, etc., you will be seeing more of that content. So it's all becoming way more personalized. Reason why LinkedIn is doing this is way more content is on the platform. There was a need to personalize it more. Also, previously, accounts with large audiences benefited so much more. Also, accounts that were eager to grow and had like those engagement pods and gamified like everything and cheated their way through it. That was unfair. Therefore, the need to hyper-personalize. Also, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they grew up with social media. They expect personalization nowadays. LinkedIn needed to keep up. That's the reason why they changed it. It's good that they changed it. It's just that content creators, especially the ones that grew their accounts at around 2022, 2023, I haven't posted back then, but what I hear is there were lots of accounts that absolutely shot up. They got so many impressions. It was easy. I'm not saying it was easy, but it was easier, from what I hear, to grow back then. And now they're in this new reality and they can't like do anything. Like their impressions are rock bottom. And when I look at their content, most of the time I think like, yeah, it's really fucking boring, your content. You can't expect to do everything the same. Like the bar is higher now. Like step up your game. Anyhow, so now if your content is really good, valuable, but also emotionalizes people, as we said earlier, like make them feel something, make them laugh, make them cry, make them smile, like show who you are, and then it will perform well and it will also reach the right people. And what I've also seen is when you see a lot of saves and reposts or shares on your content, that is normally a signal for the algorithm that it's a very valuable post and therefore it performs best. So all of my posts that have somewhat gone viral, they might have not had the most likes, but most impressions and most new followers. I had one post that only got like 200 likes, but I got over 1,000 new followers because it had almost 800 likes, 800 saves. It's absolutely nuts. So oftentimes we only see the like count, the comment count, the repost count on other people's posts. So oftentimes you think like, oh, if there's just a pretty woman with a smiley face or like a very emotional post, that's why it performs well. It might get more likes, but the impressions won't be. So as I said, like a mix of content, as I explained earlier, is the best way to, beat the algorithm.
Yeah, it's a sum of many, isn't it? And you've got to also think about what kind of content do you engage with and like. And there is going to be a little bit of difference across all of us, but we're humans in my mind. And this is where my kind of lean is on the content is I want to engage with people. So if I see a picture of someone's face and their eyes, I'm a human. I want to engage and trust in other human faces. I don't want to see AI generated images. I don't want to see, some beautiful polish from a creative team. I want to engage with real people. Therefore, for me, often when I'm posting the content that does the best, it's not even like the beautiful images that I've paid, hundreds of thousands of pounds, sometimes not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds or thousands in a studio to have shot, or even the podcast content that obviously takes us a lot more time and effort and money to produce than it does me just like recording myself on my phone. The content that does the best is a selfie of me. It's easy to generate. It's so this doesn't have to have polish. It can be, as long as the message and the content is helpful, engaging, it encourages. I think one of the great things that the platform is now doing is it's rewarding long comments, not like AI crap comments. It's rewarding long comments, and comments actually, like, really interestingly, like, you can now see how many how many impressions your comments have got when you're commenting on other people's posts. I've commented on, and this is a really basic thing to do, guys. If you're doing this for lead gen and to get noticed by your prospects, comment on their posts. It's very easy for you to do with interested comments where you're actually starting a conversation, and the platform is rewarding that. So it's not just about posting and ghosting, is what I always call it. I hate it when people post and then loads of people are commenting on their post and they don't respond. I'm like, why did you bother posting? You're just like posting into the void. Like, you've got to do this, and you've got to show up afterwards and engage with your commenters. It's not a full-time job. Well, it can be if you're Alicia, but if you're going to do this, you've got to make time for it, because otherwise you're posting to the void.
Yeah. Karen is one of the people in my community. She put out a comment once and it got over 330,000 impressions. 300. My best performing post has never scratched the 300,000 impressions mark. It is absolutely nuts. She got thousands of profile views, and then also her next post that she put out performed so much better, because for the algorithm there were lots of people suddenly interested in her, and therefore her content was shown to them when she posted. And putting out a comment takes like less than 5 minutes. What I actually always say is like my 20-20-20 method. So for anyone who is not a content creator, schedule 1 hour every time you post on LinkedIn. So when you post every day, try to do it every day. If you post once a week, schedule an hour once a week in your calendar, and then do 20 minutes commenting on other people's posts, 20 minutes sending connection requests to other people, and then 20 minutes in your DMs. Because DMs, on the one hand, is obviously this is where you actually make the conversations, be genuinely interested, but also you can wake up some old connections. Send them a happy birthday message, always with an open-ended question. Say like, how are you celebrating yourself today? They have a work anniversary. Just like, oh, I just saw this. Congratulations. Like, how excited are you? Like, what's going on? Tell me. Because one, the algorithm is a signal. You're speaking to John in the DMs. Therefore, your content will be shown to John. So that's one way. But also it's just humans. This is how you will be invited to a podcast speaking gig. Like, you need to be front of mind for people. So reach out. So that's why I say like 20-20-20, 1 hour a day whenever you post on LinkedIn.
Oh, I love that rule, Alicia. Again, it's so basic, isn't it? But if you're not wired into doing this and you haven't done it before, I think we kind of think it's obvious, but you can't just do one part of it. You have to, it is the sum of many. You've got to kind of dial it all together. Now, we only have 10 minutes left. There's still a million questions that I want to ask, but I can see all of you guys are asking loads of questions. So Alicia was worried earlier because I was like, we only had a few people signed up, but I was like, she was like, oh, we might not get many comments. I was like, Alicia, we will get lots of comments. This is our 4th Power to the People. We've done various different topics. Last month I did about events and I had the COO of Cannes Lions join us, and always the comments pop. So I want to include you guys. I'm going to call you out. I'm going to go through and ask some of your questions, and Alicia is going to quick fire answer them. And if I've got any ideas, I will try and help answer too. Right. So I have got. I'm going to hope I say all your names right. Yeah. Keep asking questions because I'm going to run through them. Adonai. So apologies if I've said your name wrong. Whenever I post relatable post or motivational post, it makes higher impression compared to when I post about my expertise in copywriting. How do you suggest I go about this? I'm guessing you mean like, how do I make the shift and make people engage more with my copywriting content?
All right. I think there are 2 things happening here. And please apologize. I'm German. I'm very blunt, but I say this with a lot of love, and I want you to learn and I want you to succeed. I think that your posts about copywriting, as far as I understand, is your expertise. So those posts are boring. They are probably not written in an engaging, entertaining way, or they're not share safe worthy enough. So what I always try to do is when I put out an informative post, like education post, that is not like emotionally triggering, I try to include like a step-by-step guide, a prompt, something where I think someone needs to save this. And sometimes I even tell people, save this because you will need it again. So tell people to follow you, to save it. Don't ask too many things at once. Always ask just for one thing. Otherwise, we are too overwhelmed. But if you tell people, they're more likely to take an action. So really think about your education post. Would someone save this? Would someone send this to a friend? Would someone say like, fuck, I need this. That was so helpful. So I think boring and not safe worthy enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I'm just going to build on that. Also, think about how you're going to stop the scroll. Like maybe with your personal post, I don't know the answer because I haven't seen your content, but maybe with your personal post, you're posting more personal photos. And with your informative educational post, you're maybe, I don't know, using PDFs or designed assets, maybe use more personal images. Like most of my content you will see is either videos of me or like pictures of me, but the content is still educational. I'm just sharing something, and I see Alicia a lot the same with you. Your content, often you're at the forefront of your content. The message might be educational, but it's still personal to a certain extent. So I think that's also really important. One other thing, I said I'm going to ask all your questions, but I've got questions that I want to ask Alicia as well that build on these questions, is stopping the scroll, making sure that you've got a really, I guess, not clickbaity, but you've got a strong hook in your first line. Alicia, I've seen a few of your posts about this, and I've worked with lots of different creators over the years and follow a lot of different people. That first line is really, really important. When you've got a more informative post, how do you write different, I guess, first line, those hooks that are going to capture and stop the scroll?
Yeah, the hook is super, super important, because otherwise people will scroll past it. And I like to think that the image, the asset, or the video that goes with it, the visual that people see, is part of the hook as well. So, because sometimes you can have the best hook, but if the image you're using looks like advertisement, or looks really weird, or is dark, or whatever it might be, it will also, like, it will kind of take away from your good hook. With your hook is most of the time 2 or 3 lines that are visible. They should be curiosity inducing. What we can see with data when hooks are being analyzed is that hooks that are written from a personal perspective perform better. When you say, like, my top 10 tips on XYZ, that sounds really boring, but it's still better than a lot of the corporate hooks that we see people put out, which are no hooks at all. So ideally you want to try to weave in a bit of experience, so credibility. So what I often do is I say ex LinkedIn. Anyone who follows my content regularly, they will be so fucking tired of it. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. You need to go through this, but this is my way to make sure I'm being credible and to be seen. Remember, like, the top funnel post, people, there are thousands of people that don't know me. So I put out a post for those who don't know me, and I want them to know that I used to work at LinkedIn, because that's my biggest trump that I can pull to play the game. So think about, what experience do you have? 15 years in marketing, as a ex-CEO at a Fortune 500 company, whatever it might be, that helps as part of your hook. And then also, if you include any sort of numbers, revenue numbers, or just numbers in general as a pattern breaker, they're great. Or also starting with, like, a story, something like, as a CMO of 25 years, I couldn't believe that it took me until now to realize this. There is so much more to hook. I'm sorry, I could talk about this for an hour, but I know we are short on time, so I stop here. But there is a lot to a good hook.
Follow Alicia for more. You have posted some good, like how to develop a good hook, and there's so many you can find. I actually got one from a very good friend of mine who's like TikTok famous, and she gave us her whole crib sheet for how she writes good hooks, and it is really, like, I don't agree with the, like, I made, and a lot of people will use, a lot of influencers use this, and they kind of like it, like, I've made £7 million doing da da da. I'm like, yeah, you've made £7 million in 10 years or whatever, which is still impressive, right? But
you know what? I hate these as well, but we still
me
click.
too.
We still fucking click on those posts because we're curious.
Because you're like, oh, how did you do that? I want to know. I'm not a fan of them because they are very clickbaity, but they do work. So yeah, don't do them, but if you have to, do. I want to get to a couple more questions. I also really want to talk to you about video feed. Guys, we may hang on. Alicia, can I steal you for like an extra 5 minutes if you stay extra?
I'm fine.
Yeah,
that's absolutely fine. Also, I'm only fine if I can take 1 second to celebrate Keith Myers. Yes. I saw him in the comments. Want to give him a shout out. Keith and I have been speaking in the DMs for months. He has been sharing his journey, and I just want to give him a huge shout out, celebration. I'm so proud of you, Keith. Well Keith, done.
Guys, if you don't follow Keith Myers, find him in the chat and follow him. So, because Keith, what I would like before we finish this in around 10 minutes time, maybe, that Keith's hit his 10,000. So if you can all go and help him by following him, that would be really nice.
Well done, Keith. And thank you, Katie, for letting me give him this little shout out.
Oh my God. You see, look, it's bought us an extra 5 minutes, and I'm pushing it to 7 now. No, I'm joking. Before I am going to come to more of your question, guys, so keep submitting them. But I want to ask you about video. So videos come back. I am a huge advocate of video because I first feel like I'm much better, and people can see me, understand me. I seem to, I do waffle a little bit, but I'm much better at video than I am any other type of content. So I'm loving that the video feed is back. It is full of American videos still at the moment. It's obviously been pushed from the US, but the more of us that create video, the better. I've actually been working with LinkedIn. Oh, there we go. There's my next call dinging me. Sorry guys, I'm going to be late. I am a big fan of creating videos. I've been working with LinkedIn on like how can we optimize our videos. Shorter is better, believe it or not. We've got very short attention plans. Well, this is what happens when I do a LinkedIn live for too long, can't talk anymore. So we've got very short attention spans, and 20-second videos are actually where it's at right now. I mean, I struggle to get anything out in 20 seconds, but I love the video feed is back. I do think it's going to pop. Some of my best ever impressions, actually. I had one video and I literally just posted it, gone in to record a podcast, came out, and it was at like 900,000 impressions. 1.5.
Was
It's
that
ended up.
recently, or was that
No,
a couple of years?
that was before. That was a year or two ago when they brought out the video feed before. So for me, the video feed works because I post a lot of videos. But it went to like 1.5 million, crazy amounts. It was the simplest post ever. It was like, stop worrying about people copying you. No one's you. Share your IP, share all your knowledge. Don't hold anything back. A bit like you said at the beginning, Alicia, I'm a big advocate of that. I will tell you everything. I am unashamedly open, and I think that's true about my business. I can tell you all the tips. Bloody hell, I really can't talk. Tips, tricks, tactics. I'm happy to share every platform I use, everything I do, because the reality is no one else is me. So that was basically what my post was, and it just went and went mad. And then, of course, one of the reasons is because loads of people are like, but what about your IP? And you shouldn't say, when you post something controversial, that also helps. But anyway, Alicia, give me your view on video.
All right, very quick background. So we had the separate video feed on LinkedIn previously. However, the AI, LinkedIn's LLM, wasn't clever enough to understand the content of a video. Therefore, it was really important to have the text description alongside your video so that the algorithm understands what it is about. You could hit the jackpot and being featured in the video feed. It was done by a team in LinkedIn editorial team manually to select which video should go into the video feed, which was absolutely nuts, absolutely biased, because we are all humans. Every human has a bias. Like, who makes that decision to anyway? And it was unsustainable. So
yeah, if you've got friends with LinkedIn, great, but otherwise, no.
Exactly. Then the video feed was taken down everywhere in the world apart from the US, because obviously they needed to update the LLM to make it smarter, to make it understand what your video is about, and to remove the need for the editorial team to decide what should go into the video feed. So now the video feed has been optimized. Apparently, the way how it works now is, again, think about your persona bubble that LinkedIn puts you in based on your scrolling behavior. It will understand what types of videos you like. Similar with like TikTok and Instagram. If you like a video with a dog, you will see lots of videos with a dog. Obviously, LinkedIn's version of it. However, currently, same as you also said, Katie, it is very American, the video feed, but also it is really shite. And I'm not saying that Americans put out bad videos. I'm just saying the videos are just really shite. They're either recycled stuff that is super old from other platforms. The quality is shit. You still see the TikTok logo on it. It's just utter shite. Some videos are completely unrelated to work. Like, you watch an AI create like a pool. I still watch it because it's entertaining and like it grabs you, but it's utter shite. I'm sorry. So we do, but also I think the issue is LinkedIn doesn't have that much video content yet that is really, really good. And also the LLM, like the AI behind it, the algorithm, is still not great. So advice on video: embrace video, but don't go all in yet. Video is good for people to see your vibe, how you speak, how you talk, to connect with your audience on a complete other level. See it as kind of a middle or even bottom funnel content when you think about like the content funnel. And you still have good impressions. You have better impressions now on video than we used to have just a few months ago. So it is fine. However, what I have seen, and please, Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, but if a video has good impressions, it doesn't convert into followers as much as a good post would do. Right. So
I agree. You've got to have a bit of everything. To be fair, that video that went off for me, I got like a couple of thousand followers off it. It was a bit crazy. Whether they were the right followers for me, probably not. Like, I'm looking for, field marketing, directors of marketing, CMOs at tech companies, because they're my clients. That's the main, and also people in marketing in general because of my podcast. But that probably didn't get me the followers that I want. And that's the other thing to mention here is like, why are you trying to get these followers? If it's for prospecting and to deliver leads for you or for your business, then it's not always about the numbers. Having a niche following of people that actually might buy you is often better than just having, 25, 50,000 followers. If you're becoming a creator and doing what Alicia's doing, of course, very different story, because you will be judged by your numbers for brand deals, and the number count. The number count does matter, because at the end of the day, it's a badge of honor, isn't it? But I think less is more if you're doing it from a prospecting point of view. Having the right followers, sometimes going viral isn't actually that good. I just want to show you how random the video feed is right now. Like, I need to try and find some of the titles.
But you can already see, like, one was an old
very
Steve
American.
video.
Yeah. It's very like, here we go, Matthew McConaughey. It's not content at the moment that is relevant to me or I want to even engage with. So I'm glad it's back, because occasionally, hopefully, my videos might make it in there. But yeah, it's a bit random right now. Right.
So yeah,
I'm gonna
advise is one video a week, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I use video. I probably do more like a couple a week, and sometimes more than that. But for me, in terms of performance day to day, it's still image works the best, and it's usually an image of me, or a person, a real life person. Right, and having a look at questions. I want to know, Keith, before we close off, have you hit 10k followers? Someone just said that you had 9,999. I could go and connect with you, and we can celebrate you. Right, okay. Yeah. Tim,
By the way, while you're still scrolling through, I talk to the audience. You, Katie, you don't need to listen. I mean, you can listen if you're interested.
I'm going to find us a really good question to end on. Go, Alicia.
All right. I was just following up on Katie's advice on, like, what content performs well for what asset. So it always depends on your audience. So you will see people like Will McTighe, Chris Donnelly, some other like big creators. They put out a lot of like infographics, and they perform really well for them. And when they put out a more personal post, it doesn't perform. It's just because this is what your audience like, what your audience expects from you. So this is different from person to person. So again, also, as Katie said, from a human psychology perspective, when we see someone's eyes, whether that's a pretty woman, a man, it doesn't matter. But if we see someone's eyes zoomed in, we linger on that picture for longer. That's just human. So therefore, those oftentimes perform well. What I like to do is I do a mix. I sometimes put out a post that doesn't have me in it at all. It's just a screenshot of something. I like to use like scribbles to show like that a human is doing it and it's not overly polished. Sometimes I just use an image. Sometimes I use multiple images. Sometimes I do a video. Sometimes I do a poll. I like to mix it up because I like to keep my audience on my toes. Also thinking about the algorithm. If you are engaging with one type of content, you see that similar type of content in your feed. So you will notice when you start watching a video, not in the video feed, but on your desktop, and you watch that video, you will then see lots more video content. So I like to switch up my assets. I like to have an image, video, poll, because that means I reach more diverse audiences. And I'm not just stuck with the audience type that likes to look at images.
Amazing, Alicia. Now, I've actually looked through all the questions, and I think we've answered most of them quite naturally. If we haven't, and you've got one that's burning, please ask. But I think I'm going to steal the last question, and I'm going to ask, Alicia, one tip for everyone listening that maybe isn't utilizing LinkedIn to its full advantage. What should they go away, or maybe isn't really posting much at all, doesn't have like a proper plan? What should they go and do today to make sure that they're successful on LinkedIn moving forward?
I'm so sorry. This is so boring. It's so boring, but it is commenting. It is commenting, especially for those that come from like Instagram, TikTok, or whatever other platform where you don't need it as much. LinkedIn, you do need. Remember, we are all human. It's a networking platform. It's not a social media platform per se. It's a networking platform. You can get a lot of visibility by never ever putting out content and just commenting. So please don't underestimate the power of commenting.
I love that. And it's getting even better, and not easier, but the platform is prioritizing it more. You'll even be able to see how many people saw your comment. Alicia, thank you so much. There's a million other things that happen. I want to talk to you about LinkedIn profiles, loads of other stuff, but maybe we'll have to do one of these again, or maybe we'll do something in real life. Who knows? If we're in the country at the same time, yeah, we'll get you along to one of our events, 100%. Alicia, thank you so much. If you could all give us a virtual round of applause for Alicia. A big thank thank you. Everyone have a lovely evening, night, go to bed if you live in Sydney, and we'll be back again end of next month. I don't know who we're with or what we're talking about yet next month, but please follow me and I will post about it and you can come and join us again next month. Brilliant. Thanks, Alicia.
You're
Bye,
welcome.
darling.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Well done,
everyone.
Keith.
Yeah, well done, Keith.